Hero in progress. That's the key, I think, to this whole thing, right? Hi, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to hang out here with you a little bit tonight as we wrap up the last of the Critter campaign that has been running now for the last couple of weeks. I thought we'd do something we haven't really done before, especially since this year is the 15-year anniversary of Critter, of Big Dog Inc., of my time in comics. So we are going to do a little. I don't know what do we call this? A little Critter retrospective. We're gonna go back 15 years to the original Critter one-shot origin story here, as well as the 14 years ago was when we produced the miniseries that followed, and just kind of run you through the book, and we'll talk about some of the things that I recall from 15 years ago. I mean, it would have been even more than 15 years ago because we had to make this book before we produced it. So 16 years ago, we're producing this thing. And I thought we'd just run through it. This is what we're presenting here is the 10-year anniversary edition that we did back in 2020. So it is the cleaned up, revamped, reset, re-edited edition with some modifications, some changes that we got to do along the way. Nothing quite along the lines of, George Lucas and the special editions, but we found places where we could kind of fix things here and there, and we went back in and fixed the original dialogue, and did some odds and ends of things that we didn't know we should have been doing, way back in the day. So what I figured we'll do is just kind of talk about this tonight. Wherever you watching, the link for the campaign, the Critter campaign, is in the description. You're welcome to click on that, go through the campaign at any point that you like. We're not going to really focus on the campaign and show that to you here, so feel free to click and look at that while you listen. If you have questions about anything that you're seeing in the book, let me know. I'd love to hear how you guys discovered Critter, or if you even have yet. And if not, this is your opportunity. So I am the writer and creator of Critter and the Critterverse. But of course, this would not exist without a number of people helping me, not the least of which was Jose Luis in the very beginning of this book. Now, the cover that you have here is not Jose's cover. This is, like I said, this is the 10-year anniversary edition that we did. Brand new cover with Paradox up there, and Critter, of course, by Hedwin Zaldivar, who's an amazing artist, colorist, artist. He's currently working on some of the Critter series as well, as far as interior colors. So we had him 5 years ago, do this for the 10-year anniversary. So it's a new cover there. But we have, we'll see, you can probably see my little cursor here, and we'll just kind of talk about the people that did this book with me. So artist Jose Luis was the original artist for this book. He was a guy that I found. I found a lot of these early guys on a place called Digital Webbing. And he was so good. I was so happy to have him. He was so in the wheelhouse of what I was looking for to do this book. And then we had JP Mayer doing the inks. We had Juan Cochrane on colors. Kel Nuttall back in the day, the original Critter letterer on these pages that you're about to see in this beginning part. And then when we went to the mini series, unfortunately, Jose had gotten poached from us, and DC Comics had come calling, and he was off to the races doing things like Teen Titans and Justice League, all kinds of stuff. And he since has worked for everybody, Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Dynamite, tons of indie places. And from time to time, I talk to Jose, and he always kind of says, I'm sorry I had to leave the book. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you you have every reason to somebody just sent me a message. What is going on here? Who is sending me messages, and what are they doing? I don't know what that is. Anyway, Jose had gotten poached off to DC he went, and we had to find somebody new. So back to digital webbing I went, found a very unique artist, Fico Ossio, who has now also gone on to work for Marvel IDW. He's drawn for the Hasbro crossover called Revolution, Transformers and GI Joe and all that. He did that book called Revolution. In fact, I have his mouse pad right here that he did all of that for IDW. Like I said, sometimes, when you're having to find artists, it's very difficult to do. And I went through a lot of people to try and find somebody who could really bring the energy that I wanted to this book. Fico did that. And Fico ran with this book. He only missed 2 issues of the ongoing series once he got involved. So, and as you look at the one of the cool things is because he stayed with us for so long on the series, he did the original miniseries and then he did issues 1 through 20, again, minus 2 issues. So 18 issues, 22 issues. You can really watch him grow as an artist, as a storyteller. You can watch his art grow. You can watch the book really become his book, which is awesome. We'll talk about that a little bit as we go, but let me pull this up so that I can scroll a little bit. So again, Jose Luis is what you're going to see here at the beginning. This is the little foreword that I did back in the day, basically talking about the difficulties of writing characters that are your own, because the only way to write a story that is going to resonate, really resonate with fans and readers in general, is to put the character through hell. And even though you love your characters and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to make a perfect world for these characters, you literally have to put them through hell. You have to tell them, this is going to be rough on you. But it's what we got to do to get you to the ultimate end of your journey. And that's what we do. And that's what I talk a little bit about this in here. This is a new forward, by the way. So I did this in the original trade paperback way back in the day. But I kind of redid this forward, and you guys can read it on your own. Remember, these trade paperbacks are all available on the Kickstarter. So if you haven't read them yet, you can do so. Click the link and check it out. Now, this was a hell of an opportunity. When I was just kind of getting started, we had the idea of like some variant covers and stuff, but we weren't really heavy into variant covers. So I thought initially that we would just have Jose do a cover for us. And I don't know why. Oh, you know what? We had a couple of covers that he did. Now that I'm thinking about it, where the hell did it go? Where the hell did it go? It is an unpublished cover. When we got to the point where we were going to publish this book, I wasn't sure the cover that he did was quite enough to pop. It was a good cover. I like it. Now I want to find that piece of art because I want to be able to use it. But yeah. So he did the cover. It was nice, but I wasn't really sold on it. And as I was getting ready to do this book, I was talking to artists and creators and stuff at Comic-Cons, and trying to get their thought process. Oh God, I'm exhausted, guys. I've been doing so much freaking work. And Todd Knock was one of the guys that was like very, very game to talk to me about doing stuff, because Todd's worked for like Marvel and everybody like that, but he's also done his own creator-owned stuff. A book called Wild Guard. And so I talked to him at cons and on Facebook and stuff, and I just kind of picked his brain. And at one point I was like, would you be up for doing a cover for us? And he was like, yeah, we could do that. And here we have a cover. Oh, maybe I need to get a little water here before I fall asleep tonight. So here's the cover. Beautiful cover. He did do a full body cover. But what we did was, so our first ever variant, we used this as the main cover, white cover, logo at the top, all that kind of stuff. And then we had the full body cover that we did a limited run of for our first sort of foot in the water Comic-Con at Long Beach Comic-Con. This was just before we were starting to publish to the general public. We had these done. So Todd Knock, great guy, instrumental in helping me get to where we are with Big Dog Inc. And I can't thank him enough. Represented the cover here clean, no logos. So all the covers, the chapter stops in here are all clean now. They used to have the logos and stuff all over them, but we took it down so you can see the art. Check out the art, and then of course Jose Luis over here doing the story thing. This first panel actually is new to this book. When we had the original miniseries or the original Zero issue, there was a different first panel. It was an odd first panel, but I was in my early days of art directing and editing and so on. And but funny enough, we did have this panel done differently, sort of off to the side. And so when we came back to do this 10-year anniversary, this remastered version, I was like, I want to put that sort of accurate panel back in the book, which is what we got here. And this was also an interesting learning process for me in this first scene, because the scene doesn't play out the way it was written. But because I was having a bit of a struggle, because it was the script is in English, of course, and Jose is from, I think, Brazil. And so there was a little bit of translation that wasn't quite happening perfectly. And so there would be things in the script that I would want, and then the pages would come in and they would be good, but they would sort of miss the point that I was trying to make. And so eventually I was just like, well, I can use what's here rather than like push and try and like force the issue. I can use what's here and just sort of write around it, which is what we've got kind of going on here with this panel where she's, let me fix this just to see if I can get this to, nope, it wants to keep doing that. Okay. Where she's looking at the shirt and holds it up, puts it down. The dialogue here was supposed to be more along the lines of she's holding the shirt up to herself saying, oh, this one's perfect. And then she goes and looks in the mirror and she realizes it's the same shirt she's wearing. Right. But I wasn't able to get that to come across. It just wasn't translating. And so I said, okay, this is fine. Let me just write around it. And so I wrote around it and the shirt just became too expensive, even though we're in a secondhand store. And I was just like, this is fine. This works just as well because she's not someone who's going to spend $100 on a shirt. And I wasn't sure that the whole, like, it's the same shirt thing was even going to come across accurately. So it was a little weird. This is a weird first scene for me. But we got it done and it works, like I said. And, Jose does a great job with the presentation, the splash page on the left. So this is how you see it in the book. This is how it reads. We've got it set up for 2 pages, guys. So it reads well. It does the job. And he does a great job of the presentation. He does a great job of, camera angles moving in and out. When I wrote these scripts, I was such a rookie. I barely had enough sort of stage direction to be like, hey, close up, hey, turn the camera, hey, do this, whatever. So a lot of this is just him, freewheeling it to make it look right. And then the same with Kel when he was doing the letters. I really didn't know how to write a script. So a lot of my dialogue, so like on that page 2, panel 3, all of that dialogue that's between the 2 word balloons, all of that really was just crammed into one balloon. And then Kel came in and used his skills to make it better, to separate sort of the beats, give them a beat. Hey, she said something, there's a beat, she says something else. And that's something that I learned from those guys, from Kel and from Oren Kramik, who did the letters for Penny for Your Soul. I learned to do that. Even though I was seeing it in comics, it wasn't translating into my script. And so I learned to do that for them and sort of give them a little more, direction as far as how I want to break the beats. And it came out good. So I learned from them early on. Again, remember, this is 15 years ago for me, 16 if you're talking about when we wrote it, right? So interesting, just an interesting little throwback to this whole thing. And then, of course, we have a little segue, a little well, what do you call this thing? Transitions, a little bit of transition here. Which transition is something that I learned from Jim Valentino, and I didn't even really understand what a transition was. I didn't know. I mean, I did, but I wasn't thinking about it as I was writing. I was like, okay, transition. Like I have to go from scene to scene, whatever. How do you do that? And Jim Valentino, I saw in an interview somewhere. Okay. Transition, you can do these visually, like you can use a visual cue, like our cornfields or whatever. Move that into the next panel. You can use them with words, like I could have her say something about the cornfields in that panel or whatever, and then transition over here, we're in the cornfield, something like that. And so transitions was something that I started to learn from Jim Valentino and his mention of how to tell a story and use transitions to move you through the story. So learning lettering and how to write stuff on a script from my letterers, and learning storytelling from Jim Valentino. And so that's where we got, that's what we have so far. Of course, Critters out here in the cornfields. Now, one thing it's really funny is I often get static for all the cornfields, because I know a lot of people from Michigan. This book takes place in Michigan. And they're like, dude, there's no cornfields. And I'm like, that's because you live in Detroit. You live in the city. But when you go out to, the suburbs and whatever, there's farmland everywhere. And so my experience with Michigan was suburbs and the farmlands, and driving around and just seeing cornfields and, whatever else they're growing, but cornfields specifically. And so we had this cornfield scene. But I would get people like, yeah, there's no corn where I live. And I'm like, that's because of where you live. Of course, there's not corn in every inch of the state, right? But there's enough out there that it matters. So we have our little truck running through here. Of course, she almost gets run over. Kids yelling for help. And we have the classic costume change. Not sure we've ever had a costume change in a cornfield before. Someone knows that there was a costume change in the cornfield somewhere. Let me know. I'd love to know. But regardless, that's what we did. Costume change, clothes fly up, tugging the stuff on, and here she goes. She's off to the races. We have this original black and white costume, sort of like a gymnastics leotard type of thing. So I wanted to have something simple for, someone making their own costume. It's got to be kind of simple. I didn't want a whole lot of weird details and specific, because she wasn't even a hero here. She wasn't Critter here, right? So there's nothing that she would have other than just sort of, let me make just something kind of cool with some generic superhero, lines. And this is what we did. We just kind of did a very simplistic, very 90s-esque leotard lines, and it works well. It does the job for where we are in the story for her. And of course, she runs out. She's tearing through the cornfields. I love that. It was a good shot. I know Jose is the master of drawing cornfields at this point, because he's just doing he's doing all of this cornfield all the time. Love this shot there with the thump and the jumping into the back of the truck. Very, very superhero. He's talking to the girl that he's kidnapped, and she's trying to see what's going on. Taps on the glass, does a nice leap. I like the leap. The one thing we kind of goofed on that leap is when you do those kinds of like motion things where you have a series of steps, you're supposed to have the early stages of the motion kind of faded out. So it's sort of, in this case, it looks like we have 3 of her, tap, tap, tap. But if those 2 were faded out, you'd get a little more sense of like, hey, I'm jumping back. But again, it does the job, does what we need it to do. Good handstand. All that's fine. And then, of course, the kid notices, gets her seatbelt on, and Critter digs into the ground, stops the truck. Dude goes flying. Kaboom. Kaboom. This was a good, this wasn't exactly what I wanted, but it was close. We might have somebody joining us here, guys. It was close. This was one of my early attempts at something I had seen in comics before, which is so panels 2 and 3. They really were supposed to be just that cornfield continuing, right? Like not broken, not like and then starting again and going up again. Like it was supposed to be just one long continuous cornfield, but still broken. So that you kind of got, again, that sense of motion. Like that's where he started. That's where he stopped. Now we still get that effect, but but it's not quite there. But it works. And then I love this shot of her where she's at the end of the truck. She's just like, holy crap, I did this. It worked. Which is awesome. That's one of my favorite shots of her. I wish it was kind of bigger just cause, but it works perfectly. It's paced perfectly. I love how he's got, the different layers of the art and stuff. And so it works. It does its job. It's not a problem at all. She gets the kid is happy, and off they go, walking down the cornfields. Again, another weird little abrupt moment, right? She goes from that to back in her clothes. The assumption is first place they win is to get her clothes. You just create that assumption. That's something that happens off panel. Not perfect, not a great transition, but it does the job. And we move along, and then a little foreshadowing of what's to come. There's boots flying, and then we come home. We get a little character moment here with the cows. Again, I realize there's not cornfields and cows everywhere, but out in the farmland there is. So we get to see Critters in this this older house, and she meets an old friend, a friend, sort of a friend of her mother's. This is Brenda. And I did get to toss in a little nod to some folks. There's a lot of nods in this to I don't know. I guess you'd say my childhood, like because we used to come back to Michigan for the summer because that's where my mom was from, and so we had neighbors here that were called their last names were the Vandermollens. It was a very Danish, whatever community back here. So the Vandermollens. So I got to throw a little nod to my childhood in there with the Vandermollens. Look like the Vandermollens are letting their cows roam. So that was fun. She is in Greenville. That's where, we used to come out here for the summer as well. So, yeah, it was an interesting little, personal Easter eggs that get dropped in. They're not things that would make sense to anyone else, but they make sense to me. And so again, a little personal time there. We get inside, we get the history. This is where it starts to get a little more serious, where Brenda gives the history of this character that we find out is named the Velvet Fox. There's a little throwback to an adventure from years ago when Cassia was a kid. Velvet Fox and the chorus show up. There's Tide Pool in the background, and they're tearing up a local amusement park. And again, a little bit different here. So in the original version, that big panel at that bottom there was all sepia toned to kind of indicate like a flashback. But we didn't maintain that really through the rest of the scene, which is down here. And so I was kind of like, that's poor transition. There's probably a better way to do it. Again, I would have done this differently. Now I would have found a better way to sort of monkey around with this stuff. But I reset it back to the original pure color again, because I didn't have sepia all the way through. It didn't make any sense to me. So little edits. And this is where she realizes that the Velvet Fox was actually her mom. So here's a cool sequence with the Velvet Fox basically saving this coastal city using her telekinetic powers to kind of, form like a shield over the city, as Tide Pool basically was like, huh, here's the ocean for you, deal with that. And so again, a little bit of foreshadowing here as Tide Pool starts to try to, flood the city. A little bit of foreshadowing to what's to come later on in the series. Those of you that have read it, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, this was a cool. Again, not perfect. I can see better ways to do it, but it's a cool, like, here comes the wave. She's holding it back. We get that nice front shot. I can stop the water. And then kaboom, there's the big water shot. So that was nice. That was cool. And again, some nice foreshadowing. As part of the fun of looking back on this stuff is what was there that you knew was there on purpose, and then what was there that sort of became valuable to the story as you went forward. So yeah, this has been fun. Now this was a mess. This is where we ran into a real mess. And I don't think you can see it. I don't think you can see it. Yeah. So page on the left is fine. Again, character, talking about her mom, talking about, whatever. There's a little book that has like a technology thing built into it. So you open it up to, it's a book of names, and Cassia's in there. That's Critter. So you push Cassia's name, and you get sort of the Adam West, like, hey, here's the secret door to the, the cave or whatever. And then of course, right as you open it up, right as it opens, there's this mannequin, and it's got the Critter costume on it, and is now, it still has the V right there. So Brenda starts to tell her, okay, so this is your mom's gear, the ears and the tail, but the costume is for you. So this was your mom's plan, even though she's passed now. She's been passed for quite a while. Even though she's passed, she had this sort of plan for you. Now, this page with the costume on it, oh my God, something happened, because I didn't have the actual high res colors of that page for whatever reason. So when it was originally produced, that page looks, I feel like it looks a little wonky because it's not high resolution. But there was nothing that I could do. I wasn't able to get a hold of the colors. I was just stuck. I wasn't going to have it recolored because, again, it wouldn't match up. So when we got to this, I gave it to, who did I give it to? I gave it to somebody. I was like, can you help make this not look crummy? Help the resolution so it doesn't look crummy. And they did a great job. They punched up the page, the resolution. And I really don't, I can barely tell that's the situation. So really great help on that page. Yeah, I really, honestly, I can't tell, which is awesome. That's what you want. You don't want to be able to tell. And then of course, another weird part coming up here. Cassie goes inside, they're looking at the costume. She's like, okay, go change or whatever. There's there's like a little mini hallway right there before you go into the actual sort of bat cave area in the back. So she's changing behind the thing. Now, when we got here, 1, 2, 3. So we got to panel 4. Johnny's here.
Hello.
What's happening? So we're doing a little retrospective here, talking about this book, and talking about all the little secrets.
Easter eggs.
Well, just stories of of all of it. So this was, we're at this point. So I just went through this part where this page with the costume on it, back in the day, for whatever reason, I did not have a high resolution page for this page, and it had gotten lettered non-high resolution. Like the whole thing was just shit. And but that's how it was published originally. Yeah. If you go to the original book and you look at it, it's wonky. It's not. Yeah. And so when we did the 10-year trade paperback, I gave it to somebody that I was like, help me make this better, because I knew there was a way that you could kind of
polish,
digitally pop it so that it's still maybe not perfect, but it's going to be better. And so they did a great job, and now you really can't tell that it's wonky anymore. But then when we get here again, I was talking about Jose and having some English translation barrier in the early days. This shot here, basically where they're talking about, hey, I'm changing my clothes, whatever. This panel right here, I described to him as Cassia pokes her head out around the screen or whatever. And so when he drew the piece, and I really wish I still have it, I must still have it. When he drew the piece, maybe it was just a rough, so I didn't keep it. But when he drew it, it basically looked like this, except that he had her hand literally like poking her in the head, and I was like, I don't understand what's happening right now. And I asked him, I was like, what's going on? And he says, well, that's what the script says. The script said she pokes her head. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. So that's American vernacular.
Yes, it's
Now
always highly entertaining when the English translations people take it so literally. Sometimes it's like, well, poke, and it's like, no, that's the okay.
So that's what happened. I explained. He was like, oh, I got it. But that was a great learning point for me because I was also working at around this time with JB Neto, who's also from Brazil. And so we were dealing with translations with him too. And I was like, okay, I need to be very clear in my script. I can't just be like throwing slang and expecting them to get it all. So
exactly.
Yeah. So it was another learning point for me on how to do what the hell I was trying to do. But he fixed it. He got it done. She got the costume on. Click, 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 click. Was
he also, when you explained it to him what you really meant by that, was he also like, oh, that makes
he
sense.
understood immediately. I was like, that's just American. Like, I poked my head out around the thing. And he was like, yeah, of course. But when you're translating, and you see words, it's just, that's the word.
I could just imagine his thought process going, well, that seemed, why would she be?
Right. Yes.
But if this is what you want, I'll give it to you.
Right. Yeah. So we got her in the costume, the little V, which of course this was her mom's stuff. The little V does a that was bizarre. As soon as we talk about that, my phone buzzes. I'm like, what just buzzed? Yeah. It does a little switcheroo, melds itself into the belt buckle that we know now. Everything's good, and off we are to the races here. And this is where we figure out she's named Critter, or she's going to call herself Critter. This was something that I had to figure out myself because originally when I designed her, she was never intended to be really a comic book character, but originally when I designed her, she was just this sort of furry character that I was learning to draw from. And I called her the Coati because we had just seen a thing on the Discovery Channel or Animal Planet or something. And they had done a thing on the Coati. And it was this little weird, like almost raccoon looking thing with a super long fuzzy tail. I was like, okay, I'm just going to make something called the Coati because it's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's dumb. And so when I got to the point where I was making this character, I was like, oh yeah, it's ridiculous and stupid and dumb. And I can't name her the Coati. No one is going to understand what the hell's going on. Plus at this point,
is a really fun thing to say.
Yes. Plus at this point, I had redesigned the costume into this blue and white thing. It wasn't even brown or there was no animalistic element other than just the ears and the tail. And so I just threw in this is where we went back to American slang and Brenda just was like, you look like a little critter. And they start laughing. Yeah, and again, dumb. That's so dumb.
Yep.
But obviously that's what we do as we move along, she becomes Critter. And then we have the core shows up for the first time. Paradox, Rookie, Icon, and Starlet. Again, just history. This was her mom's team that was from that scene that we saw earlier. Just a little, hey, this was all part of the plan. Your mom's gone, but you can come hang out with us and do the thing. A lot of, just good nerdy, oh my God, superhero stuff. I like the handshake. That worked well because you kind of have this sense that maybe he was too strong, but in reality, she was the one that kind of went. So you get a sense of, strength, and he's like, oh, nice.
He underestimated.
Exactly. Yeah. So we get a little sense of, she had all that strength to stop the car and running fast and all that. So we just kind of, again, level up, who she is, what she does. So that was cool. And then we just get the classic, I'm going to be a superhero. It's very Tom Holland Spider-Man. Very Tom Holland Spider-Man. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to be an Avenger. Like it's that, which worked great. So that's the original origin story, guys. All Jose Luis, of course, at this point now, Jose gets recruited by DC Comics And he's like, yeah, but it's DC. And I'm like, dude, I get it. Just go to DC, do your thing. He has since come back and done some covers for us on some different series and so on. And so he's always happy to see the book continuing on, which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then we found FICO, who has a decidedly different art style. It's very energetic. It's very sort of manga-esque, anime-esque.
There's a lot of implied movement in his, I think.
Always. Yeah. Even in the page layouts, he's very, very dynamic, which is what I thought. I was like, okay, we're going from sort of classic understood superhero with Jose to sort of this anime thing. And since she's a cat girl, in my brain, I'm like, this makes sense. Like this, we can do this. This will work. And you know, like I said, he did 22 of the 24 issues that existed at the time. So,
yeah,
you know, it worked. He was really good at taking direction. We really didn't have much. He was from, I want to say he was from Spain or Argentina or something. But we never really had too much translation issue. I don't really remember a lot of bumps in the road in that regard. So that was good.
He may have been more mainstream enough where that he got that vernacular a little bit.
Right. Now this was another funny thing that so in the early days we had people reviewing our books, and there was a reviewer who there was a team, and they would review books and they would talk about them back and forth. Blah, 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 blah. This guy, the one guy really liked the book. You know, he had some critique, which is fine. But then the other guy was like, he just kept finding reasons to not like the book. Like he was purposely finding reasons to not like the book. Like he was hung up on the idea that Rookie was named Rookie. You know, and he was like, yeah, I get that it's a sports thing, but what about in 10 years? Is she still a rookie after 10 years? I'm like, yo, we have 2 issues of this book out. Like, what are you worried about 10 years from now? Same with Electric Youth. He was like, Electric Youth, but yeah, okay, he's young now, but how long is he a youth for? And, you know, that kind of stuff. I was like, yo.
Yeah, that's nitpicky.
That's just ridiculous. And then right here, same thing. Greenville, Michigan, 7:33 a.m. And then as you read the page, Electric Youth races from there down to Florida, and we say 7:37 a.m. Florida. So in other words, it took him 4 minutes to get from Michigan to Florida. Zoom, he's fast, right? Well, he got the time zones wrong. He got the time zone wrong. Michigan is in the central time zone, so that should have been 6:33 a.m. and then it should have been 7:37 a.m. Blah, 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 blah. No, dummy. No. Michigan is in actually both time zones, but there's only a small, tiny chunk of the bottom west, like southwest, right above Indiana, that is in the central time zone. A real tiny. If you go to Greenville, which is where we say we're at, we're in that East Coast time zone. And so what was funny was during the show, and while he was complaining about that, the other guy was looking it up, and he was like, "No, you're wrong. This is," and the guy was like, "Oh, well, yeah, okay, well, I guess he got that part right at least." And I'm like, "What?" So he wanted to hate it. You could see he wanted to hate it, but he couldn't find a real reason to, which was really funny.
So he was making shit up.
Anyway, So anyway, I digress. We're now 15 years in, my friend. Yes, she's still named Rookie. Yes, he's still named Electric Youth.
Exactly.
Yes, you can deal with it.
And yes, we're still going.
That's right. And we're still going. Still going. So yeah, we get the introduction to Electric Youth. This is the first new hero, first appearance of Electric Youth. We get to meet Billy and Jake, who are her childhood friends that know that she had some powers going on. But now they find out that she's going to be a superhero. She shows them the costume, and they just kind of have like a weekend hanging out, playing video games, and taking care of cow tippers. Basically, again, you know, we go back to the cows that were into the first issue, and so they bring out their paint guns and just take care of the cow tippers, because they are friends of the cows.
bovines.
That's right. So the ACTLOA, an acronym that's been on a cover for years upon years upon years. Nobody has figured out what it is yet. Do you want me to just tell you?
Yes, please.
It's the Anti-Cow Tipping League of America.
See, I figured it was now that you said it, when you brought it in with the cow tipping, I'm like, it's got to do something with the cows.
Yes,
Damn it.
Yes. Now, there's no reason anyone should know what that is, but I thought someone would at least take a run at it. But nobody had a single clue. For 15 years, no one has had a
pretty
clue.
Esoteric for us. Yeah, it was like.
Yes. So yes,
but
the
now,
Anti-Cow Tipping
you
League of America. This is them. It's Billy Jake. It's Critter. That's the Anti-Cow Tipping League of America.
I love it.
Yes. So they do that thing. They take
and now
care
that we
of
know, it makes perfect sense.
Yes, exactly. they take care. I'm just going to put that on a shirt, the acronym, and just wear the shirt. And people will be like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "You got to figure it out."
Exactly.
Figure it out.
If you know,
Yeah.
if you
Read
know,
this
you
book
know,
and figure it out.
Well,
Yeah. And now we're superheroing. Rookie's back. We have our first villain of the series. Well, not counting the kidnapper, first super villain of the series. This is Yellow Jacket. Again, lots of just dumb, purposefully dumb, sort of throwback hero villain names, on purpose. That's part of this book's, hopefully part of its charm, is that it's not taking itself over seriously. And you can just have a good time with it. So Yellow Jacket, because he wears a yellow jacket, and of course he throws what are called stingers. So he kind of has a little bit of a bee vibe going on. But it's Yellow Jacket because he wears a yellow jacket. Let's just say what it is. Some cool action, some nice dialogue. I like it. I like all of this. This is a great scene. I like the little bit where Critter's in the background. Rookie's making her light thing, but simple stuff. If you look at the background, Critter's still where she was, but the tail just moves a little. Pew, 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 just little. That's just little artistic things that because I'm sure that the panel just said same shot, but Rookie's a hockey stick lights up. But he did exactly that, but then he added the little extra movement of the tail, which is good. Just
so
good
it's not
action.
Static. Yeah, it was a nice little detail.
Yeah, sometimes you have to tell an artist exactly what you want. Sometimes they can just kind of figure it out on their own, how to make this just a little bit better. And I'm like, yeah, go for it. So good action. Again, we're talking about the powers. So Yellow Jacket can basically, he has stingers basically in his body, and he can just kind of move them around and, put them in his hand, or you can see right there, or just have them stick out of his shoulders or whatever. And so when she tackled him, he moved the stingers to make sure she gets, that's never a good thing. Of course, he was kicking their ass basically. And then Critter's using her tail, but also we have to understand that the tail can work on its own as well. So even if she's sort of out of commission, the tail has an artificial intelligence built into it so that it can kind of pay attention to what needs to be done. And so while she's kind of awake, the tail's really kind of doing this on its own, as she's kind of looking, 10 feet away. So the tail takes care of Yellow Jacket and she collapses. The one thing I've realized is she ends up in the hospital a lot, especially in the later issues, because she is strong and such, but she's not like Superman, Wonder Woman, impervious. So when she gets beat up, she gets beat up. So here she is in the hospital. We get a little, just understanding that she's been at this for a while, hasn't been particularly successful yet. And then this is where Paradox kind of steps in and gives us the rundown on what the hell is going on, at least through his thought process. there's, in fact, we talked about the Coati earlier. There's a version of the Coati right there. I don't even know if people notice that, but she's right there in the brown, towards the right of the screen there. So when I had, and then of course there's the Josie costume up in the top. So again, foreshadowing immediately in this first issue about what the hell is going on. We just to some degree, I just kind of let FICO do a couple of things, but I was like, I need this and I need this, because this is where we're going. And then the rest, he just kind of like whatever that white and black thing is. I don't know what that is. That's something he made up. And then he, threw the other one in the background there, just kind of the headshot. But this is where Paradox is basically just like, this is what's going on. You're going to get your ass kicked. It's going to suck for a while, but at the end of the day, this all leads to something, and it's important. And, how time travelers do their thing, I can't tell you, but it's for the good of humanity, that you kind of go through all of this craziness. So
always for the good of humanity.
yes. We learn here, of course, that Paradox can kind of stop time, kind of hold them in a pocket so everybody else is stopped, but he can do that. You can see he's touching her toe right there, like bing, okay, we're back. Brenda's like, you did that time thing again, right?
I love how they called him out. It's like they don't know what happened, but they know something happened, and he was probably responsible.
That's it. Yeah.
And it irritated him.
Yes, like stop it, just move on. And then here's Gina. So Gina is Critter's roommate at college. She's not sure where the hell Critter's been all day. Critter shows up beat up. She's like, heads are gonna roll. What is going on? Then this guy Emil shows up. He's a little science dork from downstairs. Comes up, does a little personal panty raid just so that he can kind of get in with the jocks downstairs. And then we're at the end of the first issue here. All of our issues have a little bit of a little who's who in the last page. 2 or 3 characters kind of get a little bump.
Little mini bio.
Yeah, little mini bios, so you kind of have a sense of who these guys are. We are doing finally this year the official real Big Dog Inc. Who's Who.
Ooh, I know you've been talking about it for a while. And
I know. Yep. It's fucking sucks because I wanted that out like in 2010, and I could not put it together. Yeah. And I couldn't figure out the design that I wanted to do. And just recently, just earlier, a few months ago, I was like, oh, I got this. I think I got this. And so I've been redesigning all of the pages to be this new sort of format. And I'm happy with it. And we do have some characters that we have to add before we do this now, because in the meantime, I've added characters, and it goes alphabetically.
The universe has expanded.
That's grown. Right. That's right. So because the book goes alphabetically, I got to get the new guys in. Yeah. So that's why it's going to be a little bit longer, just so I can get all that done. But we will do it this year, 100% for sure. So that's going to be super cool. I'm very excited. And then we should be able to release one like once a year until we kind of have all of it, done. So that'll be fun.
Well, it would have been nice in 2010, but in the 15-year anniversary, I think it works.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine. It'll be more complete, because we created so much stuff since then. It'll be fine, and it'll look good. Like, I was really not happy with it. I was like, God, it's not working. And I showed it to a few people, and they were like, well, I kind of like it. And I'm like, I don't really want you to kind of like it. I want you to be like, oh, that looks cool.
Well, it's really cool, and I love it, and I want one.
Yes. And so I kept monkeying with it. And then I finally came up with an idea, showed it to one of these guys, and he was like, oh, that looks a lot better than what was. And I was like, yeah, I thought so. I thought we were onto something. So it's coming, guys. It's coming. It'll be
you had to wait till you got the winner chicken dinner reaction.
It'll be worth it. It'll be really fun. It'll look great. So on to issue 2. We're in college. We're doing the college thing. We have a Fast Times at Ridgemont High nod right here that again, I don't think anyone has caught. It's very innocuous. But it's this panel right here where she looks at these guys and like, are you even in my class? And he says, I am today. That's straight out of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That is Spicoli and the professor as they go to the place where they're looking at the cadavers. Spicoli just shows up and he's like, are you in my class? I am today.
That's very much a very specific pop culture that not everybody
super hyper specific. Yes. Yep. And so I'm spilling all the tea, guys. You're getting all the stuff. Oh, yeah, and here's a little cover. Like there's a little hand down here. The tail's like, yo, what's going on?
Poke, poke, poke.
So we get a little history of superheroes 101, basically, from Brenda. That's what this class is. It's Superheroes 101. Oh my God. I just found something that I think he did that I didn't notice. Fucking hell. All right. We'll have to, I'm not going to tell anybody because I might be wrong. But as soon as I saw something, I was like, oh, Jesus. All right. So anyway, we'll come to that later.
Moving on for now.
Yeah, we'll get there. So anyway, it's Superheroes 101. She's talking about the Velvet Fox here. That's Critter's mom, of course. Just a little bit of like, what makes us hero? Who becomes a hero? Who becomes a villain? Blah, blah, blah. Everybody's kind of just sort of quiet. Now, here's another interesting thing. So here's a shot of the in crowd right here, guys. And they've been around for a bit, and they have even had their own miniseries for a bit. Mm-hmm. Shawnee, what do you notice there?
What do I notice there?
What do you notice there that is sort of, I don't know, incorrect or an anomaly?
There's one more, I think, than there should be.
That's correct. There is one more. That's right.
I'm like, who's that one right there? I don't recognize
That's
them.
right. This chick over here on the end.
Yeah.
Has only appeared right here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Talk about an esoteric little piece of.
Yes. So when the in crowd comes around again, she's not there anymore.
Oh.
So why isn't she there? The real answer is I'm not sure. That's the real answer. I don't remember when we got to the actual in-crowd debut, like when they were a team. I don't remember telling FICO to leave her out. But she was left out. And so she's been left out all this time. I know who she is. I know exactly what she does. And she will make a triumphant return someday. But again, this was one of those things that, maybe somebody noticed, but no one's ever said anything.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what about that other chick over there? I'm like, well, I don't know.
Or it's like people think like you said, they just thought maybe it was on purpose.
Yeah, sort of on purpose by accident.
By accident.
Yeah. So we have a character here that you guys have something to look forward to at some point. And then, of course, the really cool part of this whole thing is the fact that Todd Knock, who we talked about earlier, who did the cover for me, he let me use one of his characters from Wild Guard in this scene. Yep. This was this is like 3 pages. This is many, many months, like maybe a year of making this scene happen. Because when I pitched it to him, he was like, don't know, not sure. And why would he? I'm not anybody. I haven't done anything. Like, I this is it. And so as I got to
you want to use my character? Well,
yeah. And so when I got to this point and I had to finally do the scene, because I could do it without Lilyhammer. I could just make any sort of hero that I wanted. I reached out to him again. I was like, so let me reach out because we're doing this scene. I wanted to reach out one more time. And he was like, well, show me the script. And I showed it to him. And he was like, well, what if I changed a couple of things? And I was like, of course, tell me what works for you. And he was like, well, I don't really like the finale part. Let's do it a different way. And I was like, okay. And so I rewrote it and sent it back to him. and he was like, yeah, I like this. This is good. And then I was like, solid. So we're in. He was like, yeah, go ahead. And then when I finally did, when I finished it, he basically was just like, well, let me work on her dialogue because I want to, she's got the heavy accent and stuff, and I kind of know how I do it, and we want to translate that over. I was like, of course, here's what we need her to say. You can sort of rework it in her accent, and we'll drop it in. And he was like, awesome, cool, that's great. So basically, the part that changed was all of this was basically the same. She comes in, she's talking about being a superhero. It's awesome. The villains, I want the bad guys to be afraid of me, like blah, 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 blah. And then right here, she was supposed to take the hammer and just smash it down and have the whole, all the class people just kind of like fly up in the air, like boom, like, like that. And, but that's the part that he was like, I think it would be better if she realized what's about to happen and she just puts it down on the ground. And she settles herself down. Like she has this in the inner monologue, it kicks in like, whoops, this is not where we do this. And then like that. And I was like, that's so good. I like that so much better than the other way. The other way is too comedic and just over the top. This has a little sense of humor, but it shows a control within the character,
a little more subtle.
Yeah. And so again, I'm learning again through somebody else, through storytelling. I learned from my letterers how to get a script right. I learned from some of my artists. I've learned from now Todd on some character development. I'm 3 issues in and I'm soaking it up like a sponge. So then they go out, they got the people roaming the halls, and
like you do.
Yep. And this was another part that I changed from the original script. This was so she's talking about a party and blah 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 blah, but there's no party. Like we don't get to the party. I had an entire party scene written, like just. This is almost like movie editing, right? Where you're just like, that doesn't need to happen. Like we don't need that to happen. So
that's too much right here at this time.
It doesn't advance the story the proper way. I have the script, it's done, but I was like, nah, we're just going to kick that out. So I restructured the whole thing here, and we went out on the boat, and again, we got our foreshadowing with the monsters, the sea monsters. And then this was the part that we really needed anyway, which is Critter doing a patrol, again, very cliche superhero stuff. And we get to see the little portal that Paradox gives her so that she can sort of ditch her clothes when she needs to, instead of going into the cornfields and, stripping, she can just kind of toss her stuff in there. And then of course we get a typical cliche
action scene.
A mugger guy. And then the girl, we get this little girl who's like, looking up to her, like, are you a superhero? Well, I'm working on it. And then we get Mascara. So we needed this character to show up to have another, bad guy for this sort of period of time. So Mascara shows up. We don't really know who the hell she is, why she's pissed off, other than the fact that she's upset that, she didn't wear her cat ears. And they get into a fight over seemingly nothing. But that's part of Mascara, again, is she's just kind of a lunatic, essentially.
She's a hot-headed lunatic.
Yes, correct. With some powers, though. So she gets, the tail again does the job. What's going on? Tosses her out into the ocean. Pew! See ya.
Hot-headed lunatics with some powers are always fun and a short temper. Fun to deal with.
That's right. And then another change to this trade paperback, only to the trade paperback. We had no problem with the issue, but this last page with the monster on the boat, that didn't get put in. No, sorry, not that one. This one down here, where she comes out of the water, the last page right here, where she comes out of the water and she's got like a voice in her head going on. That page did not make it into the original trade paperback. It got missed, which threw everything off as far as like everything. and I couldn't figure out why, but I was like, I mean, this is just it. We got to make it work. So we made it work. But
as you were going through, you went, aha.
Yeah, now it's back in. So yeah, the director's cut is here for you with all of the little changes and stuff that we've done through the first 3 issues. We got the page back in there. Little who's who, of course. And then we're on to issue 3. We have the first, well, it's not the first, Lilyhammer. We have 3 more. Well, actually, only 2 here. And then there's 1 more later. So 2 more guest appearances. So The Sire is a book, superhero book by a friend of mine, Mike Dolce, who's another guy that when I was starting to figure out how to do comics, he was very helpful in, hey, do this, hey, do that. He had been doing The Sire for a little while. And I came to him. I was like, hey, do you want him to just like appear in a scene, like just fighting some stuff, just like a quick appearance? And he was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. So we did that. And then Pinpoint is Alfred Page's character, so he got dropped in there. And then Ukalik, first appearance of Ukalik, cameo, is up there in Alaska.
Lots of fun little cameos. That was really,
Oh yeah, for sure. It's crazy that she's from issue 3 of the miniseries, and she never really had a story until last year. Kicking Amphibodons, and then of course Electric Youth is doing his thing, and then the fight's on. Tidepool is invading, and the Amphibodons, that's the little froggy monster guys. They're running around doing their thing. We see Rookie doing her light thing. She has a tendency to make sports stuff out of her light powers.
No.
I mean, duh. And of course, Paradox just sort of sits around and watches what's going on. And like, so in this situation,
time traveler.
Yeah. And so in this situation, we have Critter's basically running late. And she's in traffic. She's riding cars. But then something weird happens. As she hops off the car to head in the right direction, somebody basically says behind you, it stops her. So again, she sees just a mugger in the park. Goes and takes care of the mugger, breaks the knife, saves the girl. Girl takes her picture, and then we're back to the fight here, where Rookie is kind of getting her butt kicked by all the monsters. She makes some baseballs. They just kind of bounce off of him, like, yeah, whatever. And Tidepool's like, just stop bothering me. And then he pukes on her. And, all the little sea gunk. Starlet shows up. Starlet's got light powers, by the way. So now you know why they're fighting together, because their power bases work together. Paradox is still like, where the hell's Critter? Like, what's going on? And then big giant squid gets Starlet. He pukes on her, sticks her to the side of a boat. And then Critter shows up. That's it. And then we get the tagline, just a little critter.
Just a little critter.
And no one cares. Not impressed. So she shows up, tries to get puked on.
They don't care yet.
That's right. Gets out of the way, does all the cool superhero stuff. Starlet gets loose, lights up Rookie, recharges her powers. Rookie uses her light powers, gets out of the squid.
Out of the squid.
Gets out of the squid.
Sorry, that's just funny.
Yep. And we just keep going, fighting, good fighting. And then Mascara shows up, like, what? Knocks him into the water. And then we find out that Mascara has some sort of density powers, gravity, density, something along those lines. Drags Critter down with her. Mm-hmm. And Critter decides that she's toast unless she gives up her belt. So she unlocks the belt, and Mascara sinks like a rock, but Critter survives. We get the first sort of indications of the in crowd here. You've got Slipstream pulling her out of the water. We had Lasso Lass and Wing Boy earlier as well, doing some things. So again, some cameo of the in crowd. And hey, everything's good. Everything's good. And then we're back home, and again, who's who, get a little taste of the who's who. Then we're in issue 4. This is another superhero crossover, team up, whatever. Somebody else's character. This is Sebastian Picon's book, a character called Cat 5. So it's Cat.5, like Category 5 hurricane. So she does like wind powers and stuff. So here's Cat 5, like she's got it going on. I've got this taken care of. And then a big monster shows up. So this is all just recap. Basically, we're back at the Corps' headquarters. Like this is what happened. Tidepool showed up. There was an underwater prison facility, basically on the coast of San Diego, which is where all this happens. The monsters showed up, let loose a bunch of the bad guys. And in addition to all of this, just general, kaiju problems. And so now they're talking about how there's all these like super villains back on the street, and what are we going to do about it? Paradox shows up. He's pissed off that Critter was late, that she gave up the belt. Like none of this is supposed to happen. The other guys are like, ease up. This is problematic. And then they go and do a little time thing again. She's floating around while he's standing still. She's like, what the hell's going on? And then they bring her back, bump. Oh. And when he comes back, everybody's gone. So again, time has elapsed while they were in the little time vortex thing. So time has elapsed. They're all gone, and Critter's there. And now Charity shows up, another superhero that we have. Charity shows up. She's got basically healing powers, essentially, which is why she's got like the Red Cross going on. It turns out she found the belt. It was sitting on the beach, and she was like, I came here to talk to the Corps, but I kind of figured this is yours because of the tail, blah, blah, blah. She gets the tail back, clicks it on. And Critter says something to the effect of, I haven't seen you for months. Like, where have you been? And Charity's like, what do you mean months? And then she takes off, and, she seems a little disturbed by the idea that it's been months since anybody's seen her. Foreshadowing. I know. And
little pay attention, people.
And so then Critter kind of goes and looks like, okay, where is everybody? And now we find a little CCTV with Icon and the group, and they have found some bad guys that they're taking on. This is Yellow Jacket and his agents of Unicorn. You have Pitbull, you have Faith, and you have Cricket there in the background. Just nonsense, bad guys, just super fun, throwback to the 70s and 80s of superheroes. And then as Critter's watching, the tail does the job again. Somebody gets into the Corps' headquarters, and we find out it's a character named Cougar, who has basically like subliminal message, get in your head, sort of, pseudo hypnosis type of powers. But she used to be part of the Corps. She ditched out when Paradox showed up. And now she's here talking to Critter. And we get this little nice shot up here. Are you recruiting me? And she says, do you want me to? Yes. Again, the pseudo hypnosis powers. Then we're back to the bad guys. Cricket's doing her thing with her super screechy, gloves. And then this is a throwback to Adam West Batman. This little bit right here. Good thing we took our anti-cricket chirpy chirp pills this morning. That came right out of a Batman episode from Adam West with the Penguin, where the Penguin runs around with his umbrellas, gassing people. And in the final scene, Penguin pulls out his umbrella again, shoots out all this, purple gas, and nothing happens to them this time. Last time they got knocked out. This time nothing happens. Yep. And I think it was Robin that said, "Good thing we took our anti-purple penguin gas pills today." I was like, "Yo,
yep,
that's
a classic.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
That's the money right there."
Yep. So we adapted that for our little book here, and then Rookie does her thing from long range, whack with the hockey puck, and then we're back here. Charity's trying to figure out what the hell's going on with this Haven't seen you for months. Bit. Critter and Cougar are wandering out. And then Paradox shows up. Again, this is not the way this is supposed to be happening. What the hell is going on? Paradox does not let people touch him. He has the ability to basically sidestep time and just
like phase out.
Right. Essentially phase out. Right. So he has to, basically just let him go unless he wants to tell them more information of why this isn't supposed to happen.
Right.
And then he's standing. I love this shot too, where he's like, I'll be watching you. And then he's standing there and a Frisbee just goes right through him. I love that shot. And then we're back here in the core talking about what's going on. This is our first indication of really social media existing in this world with the phone. So Rookie's talking about, Agents of Unicorn. And then Paradox shows back up in the future talking about time ripples and, everything seems to be relatively okay.
Relatively.
Yeah. But we'll keep an eye on it. And then of course the last page, we see that he's actually got the Velvet Fox, who is supposedly dead. He's got her hooked up to a machine.
Dun, dun, dun.
And he figures out that she's the reason that time has shifted because of the look behind you. Her powers are so great that she was able to basically send a message through time and space to her daughter to disrupt just enough that things would go left instead of straight. Mm-hmm. And so that's where we leave it. A little bit of a who's who. And then we have the Aspen editions as part of this trade paperback, guys. The Aspen editions are here. We got to do essentially a prequel focusing on the Velvet Fox. And in some cases, the idea of what could have been if she hadn't died. So we're kind of showing this what could have been with Critter and her mom. They would have potentially just teamed up and gone off and done their thing.
Kind of an alternate version.
Right. Alternate timeline, alternate history. This is what could have been, so on and so on. This is sort of Paradox telling this story. Like, this is what could have been. This is what could have happened. C.B. Zane did all this along with Ceci Dela Cruz on the colors. And it was just a really fun sort of thought process to go back and look at this concept. And then from there, we took it to what happened? Why didn't it happen? There's a little, I love this too. This is courtesy of Britney Spears, by the way. There's on her third album, I think, there's a great shot of her on the back cover where it's just her like dancing basically, but it's like this rainbow color, like overlapped thing. And I was like, that looks incredible.
It's almost
and that would be colors, like and that would be like an awesome like visual of like I'm different times and periods and realities and whatever. So I showed that to CB and I was like, I don't know how you're going to do this, but
he did it.
This is what we need. And then part of this was also Ceci, adjusting and filtering and doing stuff. So came out great. And so now we get like sort of the reality where he finds the Velvet Fox when she was a kid, and she was trying to be a superhero as a kid. And he sort of starts to be like, okay, we're going to, work together. We'll make sure that you're a hero, on and on and on. Costumes, getting older, finding her powers. So it's really a Velvet Fox origin story as she gets older and they clearly had a relationship and so on. I forgot about the pinky swear. So it's all going well. It's all going well until we find out that she's pregnant.
Yep.
And Paradox is basically like, yeah, this doesn't work. Again, he's like, this is not the way this works. We're going to take care of this. Basically, he's like, you can't have this kid. It's going to throw everything off, blah, blah, blah. And Fox kind of realizes that with her powers, that she can still be a hero because she can use her powers to basically protect the baby in her womb with like a, whatever, a psychic bubble or whatever you want to call it. But then he's like, okay, but even so, even if you had the baby, it would still be, you'd still have this kid distracting you from, your superhero business and life and timeline and so on. But she ends up having the kid and Paradox is like, well, all right, what are we going to do about that? So we actually see him now going back through time and monkeying with things. It's pretty clear he's the architect of a lot of this stuff. While she's doing while Cassia is now growing up and doing her, learning how to fight, learning gymnastics. There's the little scene from
going on her journey to become. Yeah.
Right. While that's happening, he's going through time and so on.
And tweaking.
Correct. And then we find the Velvet Fox trying to help some people get out of a building. And he's like, look, this is it. This is where you die. This is the end of your road. There's nothing that you can do at this point, but you don't have to die. You don't have to stay here. You can come with me. And he actually touches her. You can see he touches her, and he's allowed her to touch him as they've, gone through this. So I
did notice that in some of the prior panels. Yeah.
So he's created this friendship with her. Right. But he's like, you don't have to die. You can, if you choose to, but you don't have to. You can come with me. The world will still believe you died, but you'll be okay. And so she's like, all right, let's go. And then of course we see Cassia here, and we see the towers falling. So her mom was there trying to save people, and Paradox took her to the future. But everybody, because the Velvet Fox disappeared, everybody assumed that she was
perished.
Yep. They assumed that she was dead because they knew that she was helping what was going on there. And so there's your origin. There's your generalized origins for Velvet Fox and Critter. And of course, now we know that the Velvet Fox is not dead, but she is now actually a prisoner of Paradox. But that's volume 1, folks. That's volume 1.
I do like all the foreshadowing, because I had to say that when I was reading them originally, and else, and when Paradox started doing the whole like time stop things to have these conversations, I'm like, anybody with that much power, I'm like, that's when I was going, he's hinky. I don't trust him. And then as the time goes on, I'm like, yep, nope, not happy with him. I'm like, oh, sneaky.
Yeah. And now,
and then we move on and we're going. I'm like, what else is he going to do this time?
Right. But what I'm going to do is see if I'm crazy or not.
Uh-oh. Tom's going rogue.
Because he did something. No, it's not this issue. I swear he did something. Let's see. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe it was that issue. Why can't I see this? Oh, here we go. Kinda, not really, sorta, maybe. I'm not buying it.
Okay.
I think I did that to myself.
Okay.
I think I kind of just, I mean, it's close. That's still that issue. It's close.
You're in the ballpark, but you're not sure.
Oh my God. No, wait a minute. It is.
Okay.
We're
coming back to what you were saying originally.
100% is. Yeah. Give me one. I'm going to look at this again because that's crazy. That is batshit crazy.
There's foreshadowing, and then there's foreshadowing.
And then there's whatever he did.
Whatever.
Because I didn't do this.
He was channeling his inner Paradox.
Oh my God. So either on purpose or inadvertently,
A happy accident.
this guy with the red bandana. All right. Do we see that guy? This guy with the red bandana was just a guy. He's
Right.
just, here's a guy.
Okay.
We need a guy. He's going to raise his hand, whatever.
Okay.
So FICO draws him. He's just got a t-shirt. He's got the red bandana. He's got the long brown hair or black hair. He's got kind of scruff on the chin. The instant I saw that, I was like, that is the lead singer of Grayson, which is the band that exists in issue 3 and 4 of the ongoing series. So I just opened up that issue to go look at him. That guy.
That's what you were digging through. Okay. Yep.
And he seems a little older, but it is long black hair. It is the red bandana. He does have the scruff on the chin. Like, it is that guy. So there's this weird now continuity base that, within a year or so of this moment, that dude becomes the lead singer of the band that shows up, later on.
That's funny. That's crazy. That is crazy.
That's nuts. That's nuts. And now the next time I talk to FICO, I have to ask him, like, is this on purpose or was this just completely random? Because it's
if it was random and it was like he sucked the out of your head. It's like,
oh my God.
Telekinetic.
That's crazy. That's so crazy. And I mean, I keyed in on it immediately. Like, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to go back through this and kind of look at this stuff, because I knew there'd be things that I hadn't seen in a long time. And that dude right there is the lead singer of Grayson. And incidentally, of course, the band is named Grayson as a nod to Dick Grayson, of course. I mean, obviously.
What else would it be? Hello.
Yeah. So, wow. So Mike, you've joined us. We've been here for 90 minutes, man. Where have you been? What's up, guys? Yeah, we just finished doing volume 1 here. A little chit chat, a little Easter egg hunt, including an Easter egg I didn't even know existed until
that's an Easter egg.
Until tonight. Yeah, that is crazy. Guys, if you are interested in Critter, you have roughly 2 hours to get involved with the campaign. We are $145 away from unlocking the stretch goal, and that includes the bonus stretch goal if you are pledging $75 or more. So please go pledge wherever you're watching this. There's a link in the description. I have in my hand, I'm going to go big here for a minute.
I have to laugh a little bit because I just kind of went in and picked things that I like, and I didn't even realize that portion. And so I'm like, oh, I made the cutoff.
Yeah. So if you spend, so if you spend $75 or more, you will get not this specifically, but you will get a similar item. These are these 5-inch acrylic figures. This one is the one that people get from the last issue, from issue 24. So everybody who pledged $75 or more gets all the other stretch goals as well, but you also get one of these as a bonus thing. So we have the same thing here. If you spend 75 or more, you will get it's actually Pincher. It's this chick right here. The magnet that Bun Leung did, but you'll also get a bonus acrylic of the Pedro Perez Critter cover. So it'll be just like this. It'll be a nice stand-up figure, just like that. That's for everybody who spends $75 or more. I've been trying to tell people, go spend a little more. You're at like $65. Like, go grab another book. Some people did right away. Others just have not. And that's just the way Kickstarter works, honestly. Like, people barely read the campaigns. They just kind of roll in, scroll through the rewards, pick what they want, and get out. Like, that's just it. And so I did an update for it. I've tried to tell people, like, there's dudes that have like $70 spent.
Yeah.
I'm like, spend $5. Like, just grab something else. You'll get a bonus item that'll be cool.
I
And very
am
limited.
guilty. I am guilty of that. I've
That-
got to the point.
that's-
For me, it's okay. I mean, if I get it, great. But if not, I'm gonna, like, as long as I get what I want, I'm really
Oh,
happy.
of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so crazy that people are so close to the 75 and they're just like, yeah, they're not even paying attention.
Yeah.
Um,
But I acknowledge at least that, I know it's there and else and it's okay. But what you're saying, I think, is the people they go, I didn't know. It's like,
that's it. And that's what I don't want. I don't want people to be like, I didn't know that.
exactly.
I'm like,
but I did an announcement
I'm
and I did an
telling
update
you.
and I'm
Yeah.
telling you. It's
I'm telling you,
no,
I'm telling you, because they're so freaking great. I love these things.
those are really cool. Yep.
And this particular one, this is the only way this art exists too. This is not a cover or anything. So this one's great. And we're gonna have Narcelio do some more of these as
Fun.
we
Okay.
get into the more of the Bitchin' LLC characters and the story. Which this is part of the Critter story, by the way, guys. This is in issues. It's in the BD14 anthology, which we're shipping right now, and it's in issue 24. They kind of like the stories like run together. So you're going to get more of the dog characters and find out why they are the LLC and all that. So
Dun, dun, dun.
this was a design that Narcelio did for us, and then we just used it as the standee. So we've done these things before. Like this. Dun, dun, dun.
Yep.
And we have action figures. If you like action figures, we have that for you.
Yes, we do.
But I know they're pricey, and some people can't handle that. So we do these from time to time in different capacities. So you can have
Kind of a
cool
fun
things on your
alternative
shelf.
to have something, a little 3D
Mhm.
able to have. Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am supposed to be going and doing
Something.
a live show tonight, my
Oh.
Comic Book Shopping Network thing tonight.
Oh, that's right. It's Wednesday.
Yeah. It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah, and next Tuesday, we're actually going to be starting our third show. We're going to be doing a show live from a comic shop here in Grand Rapids called Comic Signal. And they're basically just going to give us free reign of the store. Wherever we want to go, whatever we want to decide to sell to them. It's like, okay, let's go do this.
A science experiment. I love it.
Yeah. So Don is a very cool guy. They do a lot of indie stuff there. He's very supportive of the indie world.
Nice.
But they have a lot of great stuff. They have a ton of back issues. They have incredible, just key stuff too, like old stuff.
That'll be fun to highlight and awesome for them to get the word out and make them a
Yeah.
little more visible. So that'd be cool.
Yeah. Moves.
They're opening up a can of worms with you, though. This will be interesting.
Yeah, it should be really good. I mean, he was really excited about it. When I told him about it, I was like, this will be really cool. This is what we do. This is how it works.
Mhm.
We've been doing it now for God, I don't even know how long we've been doing it, but we've been doing it for a while. Trust me, it'll be awesome. So,
That's exciting. A new format. That'll be cool.
yeah. And because he's got so much stuff and it's all organized so well. I mean, you guys can just tell us like, I need Web of Spider-Man. Okay, we'll go to Web of Spider-Man and what do you need? And we can get very, very specific.
That is super important in that his shop is organized. You can find things because there's nothing worse than trying to
Hyper-organized.
highlight that and then go, well, it's here somewhere.
Yes. Yeah. That's going to make it like really great because oftentimes these shows are very random. So people that are watching are like, well, I don't know if there's going to be anything that I want to see. So this time they can tell me it's like, okay, we're going to look at Web of Spider-Man now. We're going to look at Incredible Hulk now. Like, what do you want? And we'll just go and look at it.
Very cool.
And I think that'll be part of the really unique, fun part of it. It'll still be random because we're going to bounce from sort of customer to customer. But if someone's, really specific about what they want, we can go find it. And he's got, we can do new issues. We can do whatever he wants to do. So that will be next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
So keep your eyes open for that.
And do we know a general time frame?
Yeah. So it's 3 Eastern.
Okay.
And so it'll be noon East Coast or West Coast time.
Mhm.
We're doing it while during his open hours.
Yeah.
And then I told him, like, we'll just try it, see if we can get an audience going for it.
Mhm.
If we see we need to move it back to maybe to 4 to 6, he was okay
can
with
adjust.
that, like staying, after he closed for an extra hour. He's like, that's fine.
Okay.
So I'm like, we'll start from 3 to 5. We'll see how it goes for a few shows. We'll move it if we need to move it.
Play with it if you need to.
Yeah, we'll monkey around with it, see what we can do. Because I told him, I was like, later is better just because of the West Coast folks, but we do what we can do, and just run with it. So
Yeah.
that
Unfortunately,
is the
Tuesdays
plan.
I am in office, and so it's really hard for me because normally when I'm home I can kind of sneak a lunch and look at things, but
Sure.
when I'm in the office it's a little tougher to get away with that.
Yes. We'll still have the ability, like if you want to watch it back.
Yeah,
and
recording, so that's awesome.
we can arrange that with him where, whatever we're pulling and showing, we'll just put it in a box.
Mhm.
And then when I come back the next week, I'll just put it back and we'll reset, but that way, if someone does claim it, in the next few days, it's
Nice.
easy to just find it and it's not a problem.
Cool.
So yeah,
Well, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited, and hopefully I think it goes well because it's always nice to be able to support the local, and especially the locals that really are supportive of the indie comics. So that's going to be sounds like it's going to be a good fit and a lot of fun.
100%. And guys, somebody has just purchased
I saw that. Yep.
both Critter action figures.
Oh, we got some action figure people out there.
Yeah, and that has put us over 9K.
Mm-hmm.
That means that I'm going to do a little adjustment here while we hang out. I'm going to adjust the thing here so that we
Real
can
time
get
adjustments.
Yeah, so the rewards can get unlocked. We'll make sure everybody knows that they can get these items now that it's unlocked. Maybe people will throw a little extra dough on the pile, knowing that they're going to get it. And we'll save that. And we'll make an announcement in here. Announcements. And we still have like an hour 45, guys, an hour 45. So get involved. In fact, here, I'm going to show you right now what we unlocked. I'm going to just add it in here. And you guys can look at it for a second while I do this.
We get instant visual gratification.
Yes. Starter 25. Here we go. So we have officially unlocked the Bunley Young magnet.
Cool.
Which is, like we said, Pincher right there on the left. And then on the right is what we call the level 2 bonus. We've done level 2 bonuses over the years. Sometimes they've been extra comics. Sometimes they've been extra items like this. Basically, we get so many guys that spend more than just like the one book.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? You guys are all going to get those items as well. That's no problem. But I felt like there should be like a little extra thank you for the folks that are spending like, $75, $100. I'm like, I'm going to give you something extra. So we have unlocked that Critter acrylic standee.
Nice.
I'm going to let you all look at that while I make the update.
Extra goodies are always welcome.
Yeah. For sure. And Bun's been doing these things,
his little
these magnets for a long time. These chibis. Yeah.
They're so much fun. He does a great job.
And if we get to 10K in the next hour 45, there is one more. So if we get to 10K, it's there is more for you. So dive in. If you're close to that 75, throw a little more money on the pile. We'll get to 10K and unlock another stretch goal, and you'll make sure that you get yourself that bonus standee.
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Of all the cover options for this one, there were some hard choices for me. I was like, dang it.
Yeah, there's great stuff.
Mhm.
Great stuff. And we're currently working on Penny for Your Soul, guys, which would be in March. But we are also going to have this is the official first word on this. We are going to have a 3-day campaign in February. Well, we're in February. We're going to have a 3-day campaign over Valentine's Day, which I believe is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for another 15-year anniversary book like we did with Nei in January.
Mhm.
So Keith Garvey has done another set of Lingerie Wars
Oh,
covers
fun.
with Cupid on it.
Okay.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to reprint Cupid's first appearance from Joan of Arc #2, and then we're going to add in all of the covers that she's appeared on as like a little bonus pinup section. And so we'll have that little Lingerie Wars and
pinup extras.
and pinup extras for those 3 days. And then sort of mid-March, we'll have the official full-sized Penny for Your Soul campaign, which JB Netto is currently working on.
Nice.
All right.
Well, that'll be fun.
Everybody knows the goal is unlocked. Now we're going to take this over to the social media. Derp, derp, derp. We are live. Yes, we're here.
Yep.
We're here. We're here. Don't you hear us talking? We're talking. Talking, jibber jabbering,
Yep.
doing all.
Well, he may have come back when there was that quiet moment while you were updating and I had nothing to say. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Come on, you're the.
Hey, I am recovering from the flu, so I'm giving myself some grace.
All right. That's fair. That's fine. That's acceptable.
Thank you. So I'm doing much better, but yeah, I'm still fighting a little bit of so my voice is iffy.
All right. So we have that happening.
There it is. There's the update.
Again, guys, Pincher is unlocked. If you're at $75 or more, Critter Acrylic Standee is unlocked. There's plenty of goodies to go see. And we got an hour and 40 minutes to go. Anybody got questions about the book? Feel free, hit me up. We just ran through the first volume of the series and talked about all the goodies. So if you missed the show and you want to watch it back, there's all kinds of information in there about, how we made it, who made it, all the little tiny secrets and
some of the
oddities,
the hidden gems, and
that's right.
The changes and the updates and the thought process.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which was super fun. And then the crazy connection.
Crazy.
Yeah. So weird. So weird. I really want that to be a thing. I'm really hoping that he was like, I'll just use that guy.
He did that on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a sense that he didn't, but it's so close. It's just too close. So
I'm just going to say it was the universe was smiling and it just, conspired to make it happen. So
I'm just going to say it is. It just is. Yes. Yeah. So guys, Critter Volume 1 is here. Check it out. Lots of first appearances. A lot of these characters are now swinging back around as well. A lot of the story situations are swinging back around. When you've got 6 volumes of a book, the callbacks start happening, and it's good stuff. It's really fun to go back into this and play around with where we've been.
Well, I think you've said you've had your fair share of, oh my God, what was I thinking? But we've heard you say that. But most of all, I think it's really been kind of cool for you to see the growth and the action and the changes and being able to make it even better than you originally anticipated, I think, as it goes through and then moving forward. So this has been fun to watch the progression and really be able to see side to side the changes and how it's grown.
Yeah, the reality is that everything that we're doing here really was more or less planned.
Mhm.
Even I mean, you can see it. The Critterverse is in the first issue,
Mhm.
so I knew we were doing all of that. I think one of the interesting things
It's just an
is,
execution.
well, yeah, the execution of the Critterverse, because even though we were introducing uh, the Critterverse characters throughout the series, like the Catgirl of Mars is in Critter 5. Um, Nosferatu is in Critter 8. Pest was first introduced in the Electric Youth
Mhm.
spinoff, and so on and so on. Um, it really took, honestly, Catnip, who was not a planned character in any concept of this thing. It really took Catnip to sort of like find its ground to actually be a thing.
Mhm.
And that was just a fluke. That was just an
Yep.
absolute fluke. That was just something I threw out there, like, oh, this is for fun. Yeah, okay,
She was a
cool.
bit of a catalyst for a lot, some of the things.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
she really brought it together.
Mhm.
The steampunk critter first appeared in Critter #1 as well, or the ongoing series #1.
Mhm.
So I had all this there, but I wasn't really. I didn't know how to really present it like all the way, and Catnip helped that, which is awesome. And then and now we're on the issue 25, where we really get to see all of it.
Mhm.
We get to see, like, this is the truth of it all. And I think the interesting part will be not just the truth of the moment, but the implications of the future.
Yeah.
That really, I think, is almost the bigger value to this segment of the story. Which, as I was writing this script, I was really trying to figure out, like, I have to do this script differently. Um, I have to find a narrative method that isn't the same. I want this to feel different all the way through. Uh, and what's the funny part about that is the way that I'm doing it is actually a way that I suggested somebody tell their story one time. I was like, you should do it like this. And he was like, I don't know. I don't know if I could make that work. And that, okay, forget it. I'll do it. And that's what happened. So issue 25.
You're like, well, never mind. It's a really great idea, so I'm going to take it back.
So forget it. Scrap it. So when you see issue 25, you'll know that was all done because I was on a podcast and somebody poo-pooed the idea, and I was like, forget it. I'll do it.
Let me show you how it's done, son.
Yeah, let me show you how this works. We're gonna make this work. This is gonna be cool. And Eduardo Garcia is doing the final issue. He's a great artist. Nia Rufino is doing the colors. Looks beautiful. So if you go on the page, the campaign page, there's like a double splash right there. It kind of gives you an indicator of how the book's going to look, because you've got like the double splash and then the little insets at the bottom. So it gives you an idea of how the whole thing is going to kind of play out. It's not exactly that all the way through, but you get the idea. And I think Eduardo's really got the hang of it. He listens to, kind of my edits, like, well, you got to do. And he's like, got it. Yes, go. So he's very enthusiastic about it, and it looks great. And Nia's colors are great, obviously.
Always, yeah.
So yeah, it's issue 25, guys.
She's a unicorn in more ways than one.
Correct. Allison, I'm going to send you a link. You can come in here.
Yes.
Come in
Hi,
here and
Allison.
tell everybody how much you love Catnip. Catnip. Yeah, definitely a character that has taken on a life of her own, without any question at all. I wasn't prepared for it. She was completely random. Not only was she random, but she launched a universe, all to her own, all on her own. Just nuts. I love the character.
Was instrumental in some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I love the character. I love the design. For those that don't know, she won best new character design, back in 2020. She was in a contest, and she won best character design. So people have gravitated towards her. The universe that she's in has grown. It's a very fun place to play around in. We are going to have the final Goth Day issue this year. CB will be getting on that before too long. So Goth Day as a book, Goth Day 1 through 4, that will be stopping. But we do have further Goth plans.
Okay.
So we're not abandoning World
It'll
Goth
just
Day.
be incorporated into other
Yeah, there's an alternative plan. So I just kind of, Goth Day was just sort of like
little play on where they're goth alternatives.
yeah. Goth Day was just sort of meant to like let's just build the sandbox.
Yeah.
Because each issue is its own thing. In this last issue, a lot of it will be its own thing too. But then I think it's time to get a little more specific in the storytelling. So.
I think some of us, I mean, we'll be disappointed that it's over. I mean, but it makes sense. We've had a lot of fun with the Goth Day series, so it was just a joy to read and learn a little bit more of those characters and that whole alternate. It was just fun. So
that's what we do. That's what we do. And
that's just my humble opinion. So.
And speaking of fun, we are doing something else that just came out of the blue this year. I'm not telling anybody what it is live, but if you want to know, it is on Patreon right now. We've been teasing it and showing it off for a little while. We got the lines for the first cover for it. So what I will tell you is that there is a 40-year anniversary this year that I am quite fond of, similar to when we did the Cannonball Run 40th anniversary a few years ago. We did a cover for that with Critter and Blue Jay as the Lamborghini girls.
Yep.
So when I found out that this year had a 40th anniversary of something else that I really liked, and it had the doors wide open to just let Critter and Blue Jay do it again, I was like 100%. 100%. Like I wrote that script in 2 days. I was like, I don't know what this is. But I know
I'm running
what
with it, and here it is.
yeah, I know what I'm tributing. I know what I'm homaging. I know the beats. Like, let's go. And we knocked that thing out. It was great. So it's going to be a really fun. So most of the time when we do these things, we just throw like a cover on it. But in this case, it's going to be an actual like short story. So similar to like when we do our camp crossovers and our BDI 365s and those little
yeah.
So this will be a little 8-page story, paying tribute to one of the classic pop culture things. And I reached out to Pedro Perez because he's got almost slipped. He's got what I need.
Yes.
And
I'm looking at it, and I agree.
Yeah. So I was like, do you want to do this? And he was like, yeah, that sounds fun. And I was like, so I want to do this. And he was like, wow. And I was like, he was like, yeah, I can do it. I was like, okay, awesome. So he just turned in the lines, and I'm like, Jesus, this is going to be unbelievable. And Ed Loveley. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And Ed Loveley did our logo. He's been doing our logos for years now. He did
an amazing job as always.
Tribute homage logo. What is funny is I didn't tell people what it was on Patreon to start. I was like, here's the thing. Do you know what it is? And nobody knew what it was. I was kind of bummed for a long time. I was like, yeah, this is like rough stuff. It's not finished yet. But I was like, I kind of thought people would like clue in. But it took a few posts until we finally got the full logo like fully done. And then someone saw it. Then they were like, oh, I see it. And I was like, yes. Okay, good. So I wasn't crazy. I was on the right path of execution here. And then when we did the cover, I wanted to do a tribute to the property, but also I wanted to homage a particular cover that was there from a particular artist, which is one of the most sought after covers in comics. It's like $300 if you can find one. I'm like, I will never own it. So we did that. And then I realized the other day that cover that was done by that artist was actually an homage itself to something from the 80s from another hyper popular artist. So now we have
A
an
homage
IP
of a homage
tribute.
of a
Yeah,
homage.
we have an IP tribute. We have an homage tribute to what was already an homage tribute.
Yep.
We've gone Inception level meta.
Inception,
here.
meta, Inception. Yeah, it's just
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
infinity mirrors.
That's right. That's right. So so that was super fun. And I think I think the lines look great. And based on what I know, what he does with color, it's going to be fine. It's going to be beautiful. I also have just talked today to Bun Leung, not Bun Leung. Wake up. Who did I talk to?
I don't know. Who did you talk to? Not Bun, not Pedro.
It starts with a B. See, they have the similar name. It's Ben Dunn. Bun Leung, Ben Dunn. I talked to Ben
Okay.
Dunn today. Ben Dunn is going to do a cover for this as well.
Oh, fun. Okay.
And we're not sure when he's going to get his done. We're going to see maybe San Diego, but San Diego may actually not work out now.
Okay.
So we'll see. That's still up in the air. But if not for San Diego, we're going to see if we can have it for Texas, because he's
There you
down
go.
in Texas, and we can at least get him to come sign books.
That would be cool.
Potentially, as long as he's not doing something else. So
So you have a plan A and a plan B.
yeah. So Bun's going to do it. I've got a couple other people that I want to tap on the shoulder and see if they want to do a cover for it as well. So we'll do a few, things with this throughout the year. So if you missed the first one, we'll have a couple others.
Cool.
But I think the first one should appear it'll depend on how fast we can get it done. It will either appear in April at C2E2, which is the goal. I want to have it for C2E2. I want to have something special there. Or if not, then our backup will be Motor City when we do Motor City. So we're trying to hustle right now and get that first one for C2E2. So fingers crossed. Okay. See what we can do. And then at C2E2, Jesse Witchman's going to be sitting in with me as well.
Oh,
So-
that'd be cool.
Yeah, so I saw him last year, but he was just in Artist Alley.
Yeah.
And this year they were giving him static. Well, there's lots of artists that are like on the waiting list or whatever. And I was like, "Do you just want to sit at the booth? Like, come sit at the booth." And we have a smaller booth this year because it's very hard to get into that show. But there was a small press booth that came available, and it was a corner spot.
Ooh.
And it's a corner spot on the main aisle that is the top of Artist Alley. So our
some pretty
booth is
decent real
here.
estate. Yeah.
Yeah. So our booth is here, like the corner. And then this table faces the aisle. And then we're facing the first couple of rows of Artist Alley as well. Which is basically what I told him. I was like, I can't do this show unless I'm in the Artist Alley area. You can't put me on the opposite side of the hall. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so they said, well, we only have one 10 by 10 spot and it's in a really weird place. I was like, no way. I'll be buried back there. But they were like, well, we have a smaller spot, but it's here. I was like, that's it. Give me that. I will
Ding,
make
ding.
that work. Yeah. So it's going to be crowded, especially with Jesse sitting in too, but we'll make it work.
But it's Jesse. So
yeah. Oh yeah. No, it'll be fine.
So
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. And
If nothing else, he'll keep things entertaining.
yeah, it's our first time back there since I think 2019.
Oh wow, it's been a while then.
It's been a long time. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think we did 2019 and then COVID knocked it out, for a couple of years. And then when it came back, I just wasn't in a place to do it. So
Yeah.
But for our 15-year anniversary, I was like, we have to be there. We have to go back. We're going to actually have our convention schedule posted pretty soon because
Okay.
we're going to have some official things. There's already a bunch of official things, but we have a few that are floating.
Right.
And I want to
So the official and then the strong potentials. And
right. Yeah. So we're going to be bouncing around a lot this year, and to some places that we haven't been in a long time.
It's going to be a traveling year for you, huh?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. I almost had 5 in a row, and I said, "Fuck
Oh,
that.
geez.
I'm not doing that." That's not going to happen.
Yeah. Just a little bit of stress,
Yeah, no. So it is going to be 4 in a row,
which
but
is still a lot.
is still a lot. But yeah, some of them are a little bit local, so it's okay. It's not too bad. Like it's basically it's Motor City, and then Traverse City. No, it's 3 in a row. Is it 3 in a row or 4 in a row? I thought it was 4. I got to look at my list.
Got to find the right list and look at it. Yeah. Tom and his lists.
So it's it's a maybe 4 in a row. Right.
Okay.
It's a maybe 4. I think I'll get in. So that'd be 4 in a row. But then if I did the other one, that would have made it 5. And I kicked out that 5. So we definitely have 3. It's Motor City in May, Cherry Capital Comic-Con the week after that. That's up in Traverse City, North Michigan. And then the week after that is Ozstravaganza.
Okay.
So there's those 3. And then if the 4th one happens, we'll go to that one. Yeah. So we could potentially have 4 in a row. There's no way it's going to be 4.
And then Tom will be back home and lying prone on the floor and just staring at the ceiling going, never again.
Yep. Yeah. So there's that. But yeah, we'll have the official list coming up. CB is going to be with us at Motor City.
Mm-hmm.
If they give us the bigger spot, which I'm lobbying for, we might have someone else come out as well. But I can't do anything about that until I know the space that we're going to have. Yeah. So, last year we were fine.
In the future, Tom, come on.
Yeah, last year we were fine. I put CB in the corner, and I said, "That's you." We were fine. I wasn't really thrilled with our spot, but we were on the wait list anyway. So I was like, just give me it, whatever. And it worked well for being in a really weird spot. Okay. So this year I pitched them. I was like, look, this is our 15-year anniversary. We would like to make this sort of our regular, local thing. Because C2E2 is so much farther away. Yeah. And, if we could have just a little more space or at least be put in a better location from a visibility sense, we can really make it work to your advantage to have, us there. So, we'll see what they say. Fingers crossed.
Yep, but they're receptive to that. Yeah. So
fingers crossed. But there's a bunch of BDI people there, like MR Gunn was in there. Chris Enot's in there. So there's a bunch of people that just kind of show up on their own. I put him in the corner.
Yes.
100%. I put him in the corner. He's lucky if I put his banner up. That's how that works around here.
Exactly. And this is what it is to be Tom's friend.
Oh man.
And CB just rolls with it.
Yeah. So guys, anybody have any questions about the book, about anything that's going on this year? We're happy to shoot the breeze with you. Again, we just ran through volume 1 here. If you want to see any volume 1, we can show you some more of it. This is the Aspen stuff, of course. Going backwards, going back through time. Literally, this is a time machine for me, because this is 15 years ago. This insanity began. And to see where it is now, it's pretty crazy, especially when we even had like a 3-year, really longer than that. Because when we were doing Kickstarters, we were doing Penny first. So we had like 5-year hiatus for this book before we ever did a book again. And then we ran into all of our anniversaries. So we did the trade paperback, the hardcover for this thing. It took a few years to even get back to doing this stuff. So I'm glad that we got to volume 6. Penny for Your Soul is going to be this year. And I will tell you that it has not been officially announced, but we'll tell you right now. Next year is Wizard of Oz, Legend of Oz, 15-year anniversary. So we are bringing Oz back next year for a focus like we did a few years ago. We've already started working on that. So if you're a Patreon member, you'll get to start seeing that stuff happen. But Oz will be back starting next year as the 15-year anniversary for the book. which is crazy too. So we've already got 6 volumes of that. So we'll be working on volume 7 of Oz. Holy God.
Wow.
And then, yeah. And then we'll do other stuff throughout the year as well. Just like we've always done. We'll have a 20-page issue and then 2 40-page issues, just like we did the last time. So we get a lot of content in a short period of time. Mark, welcome. What's going on, man? Welcome. We're just shooting the breeze right now, my friend. We were looking at the Critter Volume 1 issue, which we're just kind of scrolling back through now, going backwards. This is just pretend you're in Star Trek. We're going back in time. The campaign ends in an hour and 10 minutes, roughly.
Hour and 15, hour and 10, hour and 15. Yep,
yeah,
right around
ish,
there.
something like that. So please
Mine
get in
says
there.
75 minutes to go.
75 minutes to go. So get in there, guys. Get in there. Get some Critter. We have comic books. We have trade paperbacks. We have variant covers. We have action figures. Got it all. Anything you need to enjoy a brand new superhero universe, we've got it for you. We have got it. And and now we plan what's next. What's up, Mr. Wesoff? What's going on?
Always what's next.
It's always what's next. Sometimes what's next, though, I didn't plan on what's next. That's sort of.
And sometimes that's the stuff that we find the most entertaining.
Sort of a problem. Yeah, it's sort of a problem.
Sort of?
Yeah, sort of a problem.
Maybe for you.
Sort of a problem. Yeah, and the Shark book is coming this year. God,
I was going to ask about that, actually. So,
the Shark book.
how's that? Is coming together? Doing all right?
Yeah. No, it's working. The guy who's doing it, JB Bastos. I'm now employing 2 guys that go by the name of JB, and they're both from the same studio.
Oh,
so
too funny.
Yeah. So he's doing a great job. He is very enthusiastic about it. Book looks great. He gets ahead of himself sometimes. I'm like, what? Slow down. We gotta fix some roughs here.
But that excitement and enthusiasm is appreciated, though.
Absolutely, 100%. I just don't want him doing work that he then has to go back and fix.
Yeah,
so if I can fix it in the roughs, then he has less
easier.
Less to fix. Yeah. But he's just like, let's go. I'm like, okay.
Somebody who's matching your energy. I love it for this.
We're okay. We're okay. We'll get there.
We'll get there. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah. No, it's going to look great. Great. So June 22nd, we are launching that. I'd play the video, but it's boring. So you don't need to see the video. It's not like a full video like we have for Critter.
Can you, if you have it fairly readily available, can you pull up kind of like the list of events, just the rough ones that you're doing, like for March is? Just this is a quick kind of like.
Yeah, I used to have it in here. Do I still have it, or did I dump
only if you have it available?
Well, it's on my hard drive, so everything's available.
It's just finding it.
Everything's available. Yeah, sometimes this one I know where it is. 2025 schedule, not including the book that I just talked about, the 40-year anniversary thing. Doink.
There we go. I know I appreciate the visuals sometimes and the reminders, so I figured others might as well.
So this does not include the February next week's Valentine's Day Keith Garvey special.
Right. This doesn't include some of the little add-ons and inserts that you're.
Right. It does not have the other thing, the tribute thing, and I don't know if there's anything else. There could be. I mean, we could, because we don't really have I don't have any summer camp stuff scheduled for this year yet. So summer camp could definitely pop in, especially kind of in like July. Potentially for those little campaigns, but I don't have one specifically. We do have BDI 365 for the Blood Donor Day. So there is that, but that's an actual Ursa Minor story. That's not going to be a camp crossover story. So that's a real canon Ursa Minor story there.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So the rest of it is canon stuff. And then of course the Oz Omnibus in September. which Nia Rufino has done a brand new cover. I mean, Jesus Christ.
I'm sure it's
What-
amazing as always.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Uh,
She's done. I think we've talked about it before, but she's done pretty much what, at least for every Oz, she's done a cover
Everything.
for
Everything.
every issue, everything that's done out. Yeah, talk about longevity and just consistency. So cool. I think I have all of them. Maybe I should. If I don't, I'll be very surprised.
So okay, so technically
Oh,
she hasn't.
Okay. I knew
Technically.
that there's somewhere in there was a.
Yeah, there was a goof
Okay.
when we were with Aspen.
Okay.
And so she had done 6 covers. She did all 6
Mhm.
covers. But the one that was supposed to be done for issue 5 got lost. It didn't get done.
Okay.
And so that cover was still used. It was put on issue 6. And so there were 2 covers for 6. So one of them was used as the retailer incentive, like normal. That was the plan. And then the other one was maybe a WonderCon exclusive,
Could have been
something like
yeah.
that. So
Mhm.
technically she did all 6, but one of them got a shift.
A little. It was
Yeah.
a little
so,
funky.
So in a weird technicality, she didn't do all of them,
Okay.
but close enough because it was our mistake that
Yeah.
that she did. So this is the little tease, guys, for the omnibus,
Ooh,
and
cool.
we are officially at this point the longest running Wizard of Oz comic adaptation.
Really?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
pretty incredible.
Yes. Now, within the context of an ongoing series,
Right.
the stuff that Eric Shanauer and Scotty Young did, there's more issues of that, but each one is a miniseries. So it's like 5. It's 5. But if you want to combine it all, they've done more as far as that goes. But again, those are also adaptions. It's not like a new adaptation. But by the time we get through with volume 7 next year, we'll have surpassed all of that too. So
Okay.
yeah. And then there's Niai's cover right there in the middle.
Beautiful as always.
The teaser.
The teaser.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, guys. It's ridiculous. Above and beyond, truly above and beyond. So, cannot thank her enough
Yeah.
for being part of this and helping with making that book what it is. You guys are going to freak out when you see the cover. It's so good. So good.
It's just so hard because realistically, I don't think there's a lot of us. I don't think anybody's ever been disappointed or upset in anything Nia has ever done, especially for BDI. It's just her. She's just, she's Nia. It's so. And there's usually, and those of us who know, it's like you mention, you say Nia, and all of us like when, where, bring it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Very excited.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to see it in its full glory. It's going to be amazing.
It's crazy. It's nuts. Yeah. It's nuts. So guys, a little over an hour left. Again, we have unlocked the stretch goals. Ding.
Ding.
Bun Leung pincher magnet. And if you are spending $75 or more, you will get that acrylic standee similar to this, just with the Pedro Perez art. Dun, dun, dun. Complete with the stand and the whole thing. But yeah, I've been talking a long time. I've been talking for 2.5 hours.
That's a long time.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So we're going to give you guys a minute here. Any questions you got for us? Let me know. Hit me up. I got an hour and some change. I don't have another hour voice in me.
I know I don't. But of course, I haven't been doing all the main talking either. So
yeah, we'll don't forget also some other stuff that's coming this year. Now, this is not coming from me. Well, it is me, but it's from a different company. I think they're going to launch the campaign in August. Is the thought process? I think.
'Cause I was going to say one of the plans. Yeah.
Yeah, Plan 39 from Outer Space. This is from Dren Publications. They actually right now are running Plan 79 from Outer Space.
Yes.
And that I think has 3 issues. So they're going to run those. And then when that's done, Plan 39 will drop in. So I think it's August is what they're aiming for. Once I have that more solidified, we'll let you know. But that is my second book writing for somebody else. The first one, of course, was Bad Kitty for Dynamite. What's up, Mr. Mike? What's going on? So Plan 39, it's amazing. It's freaking great. Here's a spoiler. Dun, dun, dun. So good. So good. Gat Melvin's coloring the pages right now. They look so good. So there's that. And then the other new thing this year, which will be part of the BD 15 anthology, is the Amityville Sorority Sisters.
That's right.
That will be part of that anthology. That'll be a new story. And that will be a sort of teaser lead in to a full-sized book that we're going to do next year.
Okay.
So that's something we haven't told anybody yet either, but you're going to get the first teaser, 10 pages like we do in the anthology. And then that will become a special thing that we're doing next year that I have a lot of plans in my brain, but I have to really plot this out as far as how I'm doing this. Cause it's not just the book, it's the complete presentation of this thing, how we're bringing it to market, what the book is going to be, look like. Everything is sort of being rethought about how to do a comic book. And this includes conventions as well. So I'm going to talk to some people that I have faith in and trust, and that they can get outside the box with me and be like, am I too far outside the box? I might be 6 boxes away, and that might be too much. But if I get a sense from them that they were like, yeah, I think you got something, then we'll go full bore into it. But you will have Amityville Sorority Sisters at this year. That'll be October. And all of the books this year, all the stories this year for the BD 15 anthology are horror related. So you have Nosferatu is getting her own story, kind of a pseudo origin story, which will connect to things you already have seen. And yeah, and so it'll be Nosferatu, it'll be Amityville Sorority Sisters, and then the third one, I had a thought process on what the third one is going to be, but I think I'm going to change it. I think we're going to have the third one is actually going to be a Princesses versus Zombies story.
Oh, really?
And I have two stories that I'm debating on. One would focus on one of the characters we already know, and just kind of, expand the backstory a little bit. The other would be a different princess telling that story. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that's going to be yet, but those should be your 3 stories: Nosferatu, Amityville Sorority Sisters, Princesses versus Zombies. We've had such a great reaction to PVZ in the last in the BD 13 anthology. When we take it to cons, the people that are buying Princess versus Zombies books, they just scoop it up. They're just like, oh, there's more, like, give it to me. So I'm like, okay, let's since I don't have a PVZ book planned this year, let's just dip back in. Yep. Let's dip back in. And the other thing is that I have to figure this part out, is those books are selling out. We may have to do like,
what a darn, what a problem.
What a shame. We may have to do like a trade of that series, like way before I had really contemplated doing it. Cause I'm not going to have the issues anymore. And I want to be able to have the early issues, as we continue to keep doing more issues. So, it would be like a smaller trade, because some of those book stories are only like 8 to 10 pages. But if I don't have any,
that kind of defeats us.
Yeah.
Bad juju. It's not good. Yes.
Yeah. So we might have to just kind of collect all of that stuff and just be prepared for
Do it,
you know,
essentially I don't know, maybe not
future
a, frame, but a collection of yes. Yeah.
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 So we'll see how that goes by the time we get to that point of needing things.
I was curious whether because I know we did the preview for Sand and Scales, and I was wondering if there was going to be anything further with that, or is that just further down the road and we don't know?
Yeah, it's further down the road. There's just too much else got in the way. And that book is so hyper specific
Okay.
in its in what it needs to be written properly.
Right.
You know, the dialogue and everything is so hyper period.
It has to
that
be.
I was like,
You have to take it. It has to really be focused on in order to.
Yeah. I got to get to a point where I can be like,
Yeah.
I'm going to exist in this.
Dedicate
a few
time
months
to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I
makes
got to
sense.
really
I
study
was just
it.
curious because
Yep.
it was a cool preview, so I was just wondering about.
Oh,
that.
dude, it's I so want to get to it. I think the advantage though is that by the time that I do get to it, I think if it fleshed itself out even further to a point where it's like this is even better than it probably would have been if I had like rushed into it. So yeah, I think at the end of the day we're going to get a better book. Now here's the other possibility: if the Shark book, which is an OGN original graphic novel, if the Shark book works, and we're able to just tell a single story like that, like 100-page book, maybe that's how I do Sand and Scales. To just say, like,
I could see that.
Let me take my time on this. Let me build it out for a period of time, and then we'll just say, here's the book.
Boom, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
So
cool.
that's a maybe. That's a possibility.
Gotcha.
But we got to see. We got to make sure that the Shark
you've
book
got some
idea
thought
works.
processes, and see how it works out.
Yeah, we got it because we're going to need some money to do a full OGN.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't going to be like a, hey, we need $5,000 and we're done. Like, no, sir. This is the equivalent of doing 5 Kickstarter campaigns in one campaign, and doing it without variant covers, really, for the most part. We don't have that advantage of like doing it issue by issue by issue.
One choice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there will be multiple choices. We'll have a trade paperback. We will have a hardcover edition. Whether we have like a Kickstarter exclusive, that's very possible. But again, it's not going to be like there's
considering what you normally run. That is
right. It's not like there's going to be 9 versions of it.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. 100%.
Which honestly, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I
Mike.
think it makes sense fiscally and financially because again, considering the output of the financial output you have to put out for what you will need to collect from us.
Yep.
It makes sense that to have too wide a variety because again, printing costs for you as well as choices for us, and it's like one of 3 choices is manageable considering we're probably going to buy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there'll be people that'll buy both because they
absolutely.
like the hardcover and so on. But as far as Kickstarter exclusives and stuff, like I've seen other people do hardcover books and they always have like the regular edition and then a Kickstarter exclusive edition. And I'm like, I mean, that makes sense. The weird part is I usually don't like the Kickstarter exclusive.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm like, that's a shitty cover. Like, why did you do that? That's terrible. So I end up getting just the regular one, but that's fine. Doesn't matter to me. I got what I wanted. So yeah, hopefully, we do an exclusive. It'll be good. You guys will be happy with it. But like we did that with Penny for Your Soul. We had the regular one, and then we did the Mike Chrome wraparound. Right. So we always kind of do something along those lines, but it's not going to be crazy. And then the other thing is, I'm thinking that we might do more hardcovers this time.
Okay.
To do 2 things. One is there's just a hardcover market, and we want to be able to have hardcovers around. I don't really have much in the way of Critter or Penny left anymore. And the other thing is that if we do more, we can get the cost down. Okay. That's the other sort of key because we're only doing like 200 of these things.
Right.
Cost is the cost. But if I were to be like, well, what if we did 500? Then our costs might drop a lot. And I have to talk to the printer and see how much it would actually drop. But that's sort of my
enter more the realm of like a bulk order. It's like because
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. We can have them around for a while. We can travel with them. potentially a cheaper price, which I would like, which everyone would like, I'm sure.
I was going to say that. I think you're speaking for all of us there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that'll kind of indicate to us also how we can deal with the Oz omnibus, because if the price is significantly cheaper doing like 500 hardcovers, then we might do the same thing with Oz as well.
Yeah.
Do the hardcover that way, get a slightly cheaper price, trade paperbacks. I've already talked to NEI about doing some sort of a variation. So we'll probably have an exclusive there as well. But the Shark book is going to kind of indicate to us a lot of what we can do going forward.
That's going to dictate a lot of the path of how you move forward with
for everything. Yeah. For trade paperbacks and the whole thing. Yeah. But the whole thought process right off the bat is just, how can we make this cheaper? But at the same time, if I do 500 hardcovers and it's only slightly cheaper, it doesn't make sense, because then my printing costs that I need to just produce them will be crazy. But if it's $30 to make a hardcover and it becomes $15 to make a hardcover,
that's significant.
Something changes, and I still have to shell out a lot to have 500 made. That's still a lot to just stock. But that's potentially a game changer. But I got to talk to the printer about all that and see what the options are. But we're going to try and make them cheaper for you guys than we have in the past. That's sort of the goal.
You always try, and you try to balance that fairly well. I think what's needed for you to make sure that your production costs are taken care of, as well as being cognizant of what we are paying for that as well. So it's a balancing act.
And then Mike, the Who's Who, we talked about that earlier. That's coming. It's in progress. We have some new characters that I have to get done for the book, because we've added so many since I started this project. So because it's alphabetical, so I've got to monkey around with it. And I've adjusted the design to be a design that I finally approve of. So sometime this year, not sure exactly when yet, but probably sometime in the summertime, it'll either be its own campaign or we'll have it attached to something. What we might do is attach it to like the BD15 anthology, because then it's just like Big Dog Universe campaign, like all the things. That might be the best goal, is to do it that way.
That would make sense in order, I think.
We can kind of go out of our anniversary with a big, company-wide thing. So that's been the one that I've been kind of thinking about. The other would be potentially to put it during the book fair, which is when we do the omnibus. But the omnibus is going to be pricey, so I didn't want to necessarily have a competing thing with that, because we just want to focus on that omnibus. So probably my guess would be October along with that. That'll give us plenty of time to get the new characters done, get all the art colored and get all the write-ups done, the whole thing. Yeah. And then we just kind of plan to do that, potentially once a year, until we kind of get it wrapped up. Yeah.
Cool. In 52 minutes.
52 minutes. Somehow I'm still talking.
I know. I think. Well, I might push you and say go, because I'm getting a little tired. So
yeah, no, we're gonna wrap, guys. Any final questions here? Happy to answer you. If you need to just message me. I'll still be up tonight, but I've been talking.
So he doesn't have to talk. He can just use his phone.
I've been talking for 2.5 hours. So that's it. If you missed the show, go watch it back. There's lots of information about Volume 1 Critter. Lots of little notes and Easter eggs and history about how we built this book. And yeah, we'll do it again at some point and drop into to Volume 2 and so on. But we'll probably plan to do something similar like this with Penny when we get Penny launched, which will be in March. So we'll go back 15 years. We'll talk about all the mistakes that I made and and how we had to fix them. Yeah. And we'll set that up so it'll be cool. All right. So Shani, thanks for hanging. I appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for the invite.
And you caught a bit. Yeah, go watch it all back. It's only 2.5 hours. It's like watching a movie. Yeah. It's just a monologue, but it's fine. Guys, thanks. Appreciate you all hanging out. We will see you all whenever we see you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.